It's okay. No, again, as elected officials, you have a right to speak, right? That's, in terms of just to order things, when we're on an item, we finish that item, then we.
What you said, did I have any comments? You never know. It's okay.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
We're ready.
Alrighty, so with that, we're going to call the Town of Mangonia Park Budget Workshop of fiscal year 2023-2024 to session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Alberry.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Davis Quint.
Here.
And Councilmember McConnell.
Here.
Thank you so much. At this time, we're going to turn the floor over to our Town Manager, Tim Metcalf.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, thank you for your time this evening. I'll try to be brief and to the point, and of course, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. We'll start tonight, as we typically do, with the larger sheets, which this represents the general fund. The general fund proposal, and we have a few updates on this, which could be of interest to you. And I'll just kind of go through it. On the front page, page 1, you see some highlighted revenue numbers. These numbers came in last week, and the clerk brought them to my attention. As we had indicated previously, some of these numbers, some of these funds that come from the state to us, they had been projected maybe a little bit low, and now we've put in the numbers as the state has recommended to us. This will be our numbers. So the ones that are highlighted are the ones that have come in, within the last few days. So this does obviously increase our revenue, and I'll explain what we've done with that revenue on the expenditure side. I wanted to point out to you also, down near the bottom, line 361100, interest earned. That's been phenomenal numbers this year, way over what we anticipated. So we are getting good interest from the bank. We've still budgeted conservatively on that, but we feel like that's a safe number, the 65,000 there. Okay? Any questions on the general fund revenue before we dive into the expenditure part? Again, just wanted to point out on your ad valorem taxes, it's a requirement that you budget 95% of what the property appraiser has estimated that you're coming in. We've done that. We're using their numbers, obviously, as we do every year, so that's where that number comes from. Now, getting into expenditures, everything's the same. I'm going to have you go to page 3, and you see a highlighted number of 61,000 under auditors and accounting. What we've done, the auditors that we have, that's 31,000. What we have done is we've put some money in, and we're really at the beginning stages of getting quotes for this, but we're trying to outsource our check writing, basically, and our payroll. So we're looking at third parties to do this. The way things are right now, as far as, people having the ability to commit fraud, people having the ability to hack. I'm talking about outside folks.
Right.
We need to have experts doing this that do this every day, and there are companies out there. So we've started looking at companies. We're going to, I think that 30,000 that we budgeted is more than adequate for what I'm seeing so far. We haven't got firm proposals in yet, but we are looking at that. And that's one thing that we did. And also on page, if you'll flip over to page 5, under account 550, disaster emergency response, that number increased from 275 to 324. So the remainder of the funds went back into that line item. And of course, we indicated that's an emergency only. If we have a hurricane or some type of natural disaster, the mayor declares a state of emergency, then we would get into using that line item, but only at that point.
Okay. Just to go back to the
Sure.
payroll
Yes.
matter. Right. So just as it relates to just the record itself, now, as it relates to identifying companies, and we know there's companies out there, part of the discussion as well is that if indeed a body that was brought in here, right, just on a couple hours a week basis to be able to do that as well. Okay, so just
Right,
wanted
certainly.
okay,
Certainly,
wanted
I
to make
failed
sure
to
that was on
mention
the
that,
record.
that is an option. For now, we put it under the accounting line item. If that turns out to be some type of consultant or even a part-time individual,
Mhm.
you know, we'll adjust accordingly. But I think the amount of money should be adequate. regardless.
Okay, all righty, go right ahead, I'm sorry.
Just want to ask a question about 550 disaster emergency response.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
Over the past 10 years, how much have we spent on disaster emergency response in a given year?
We really haven't had to spend anything since Irma, and even with Irma, it was minimal. And of course, we got reimbursed from FEMA, but it was minimal. I'd have to get that number for you, but it was.
I'm just wondering if we're so comfortable with the budget that 300,000 would not be needed anywhere in any other emergency? Would it be hard to get it out of this department if we put it in there?
Would it be hard? No, it's part of our regular budget. It's just that we've kind of isolated that into a line item, just so staff would understand that can't be used except for case of a natural disaster. But, I mean, council certainly has full authority over that.
But what I'm just saying is, that's a whole lot of money. And I'm just saying, if there's another issue that arises and funds are needed, we would not be able to move it out of this if you're saying it's not for any other purpose but natural disaster.
That
That's
would
what I'm
still
trying to clear.
be, that would still be council's decision. Council
Okay.
could decide to put it toward whatever,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay, other questions or comments? Okay, again?
All right, and if there are no other questions on the general fund, I'll switch over to the small sheets.
Well, I do have
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know where it's listed. I see street lighting. We had talked about doing some decorative lighting. Where is that listed?
That would be under, we put some beautification money in for Australian and for 45th Street.
Mhm.
You could possibly use some of that money toward decorative street lighting if you wanted to.
Where did you say you put it?
In
In 530? I see beautification efforts. Was that the,
That is actually under street maintenance on page 5.
530?
Yes, ma'am.
I see beautification efforts, but you're saying you can use that for street lighting as well, is what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would be on the 115,000. Have we gotten any estimates from the research we're requesting for the beautification possibilities. We had said we're gonna work that into the budget, but we haven't, I don't know if we've gotten the figures on that yet.
We've just put an amount of money on there. It's kind of a placeholder. We have no specifics at this point.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we have the funds there for when we decide to do it.
Certainly.
We have enough funds to do it, because, we wanna move forward once we get started. I love the fact that we're moving forward with the relighting of our street lights. But if we can move forward with the decorative lighting at the given time, I just didn't want it to be if we know how much we're gonna budget for, or know what could be the proposed amount, we don't know that yet.
No. I mean, the way it's listed here, and of course, again, council can shift money as we need to. But 60,000 of that 115 has been noted for beautification. And under beautification, that'd be
Sky's the limit.
council's pleasure.
Okay. If we wanna put umbrellas on the median, we could do that, right?
What's that?
Just teasing. So if we wanna put umbrellas in the median, we could do that.
You can do that.
Just teasing, okay.
With county approval.
Okay. All right, just wanna make sure we have the fluidity of that
Yes, ma'am.
in place. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the items thus far?
I'm grateful that they are starting on my street. I appreciate you guys for holding on that, but much needed, the repaving and the transformation of the water system. That's great. I just wanted to know when we're gonna start in hill section as far as paving it. When are we gonna get started on that?
Right, and as we were talking about in our one-on-one yesterday,
Right.
the thing about the repaving in the Mangonia Hills neighborhood is this. 2 meetings ago, council approved that survey work,
Right.
and our engineers really wanted to have that survey work completed before we did any paving.
Okay.
So we're just waiting on that, and then, there's a process for bidding. We accept bids for, 30 days at least, Sherry, right? And once we have the bids in, we open them up, we bring it to council for a recommendation, and you vote on it. So, and then from there, it could be, a 30-day time frame before they mobilize and actually start.
What about the signs for Hill and Brentmar? Signs are they gonna? That's gonna be after the repaving or before?
For,
The signs to identify the areas.
I mean, I think where we're talking about, where we've talked about putting the sign up on Hill Avenue in Australian, that could go up anytime. I mean, certainly I'd need this budget approved
Yeah.
before we made that, but,
That,
so it could be soon. It could be soon.
Just like it work moving.
I understand.
Okay, Vice Mayor? I'm sorry, all
yes.
done?
Finished with you?
I am.
Is that what Ms. Davis is talking about, Councilwoman Davis, is that part of the beautification project?
Indeed it is.
Okay, so that has to be.
Yeah, I know,
approved.
we're spending that money 3 and 4 different ways, right? So, no, that would be under that, correct.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Ken?
All right, so go to our smaller sheets, and that's the utility fund. I failed to mention, and this is good for the utility fund as well as the general fund. So what we have done now, the clerk has taken the budget, and she has looked at the numbers for salaries and benefits, and we've really delved down into that, so we feel like we've got really accurate numbers now as far as the salary part of it. So all that's been looked at. Of course, we're still waiting on the health insurance quote for this coming year. We won't get that until October, effective in December. We've budgeted a 20% increase because history tells us it's gonna be 10% or more. So but jumping to the utility fund, everything is the same as it was the last time. Councilmember Davis Quince just mentioned she's noticed the survey crew out on her street, and that's where a large part of the septic to sewer project is gonna happen. So what they're doing now is they're doing the survey work. Based on that, they'll start getting estimates. It will go out to bid in the fall. Hopefully by the first of the year, we approve a contractor, and soon after that, they get started. That section will be getting, now David, our utility engineer, he'll be here on September 5th to give updates on all of our utility projects, and he'll tell you exactly what area is affected by that. But I do know the Boardman West Place areas will be in that, along with the lift station. And of course, that's something council approves, but it'll be an engineer's recommendation. Those funds are budgeted in here, also the revenue part of it, because once we spend the money, the state reimburses us. So, and of course, with that, you're right, with that, we're gonna be putting in the sewer, a water line, and of course, with that comes the repaving.
Are we repaving just that one area, or we gonna do the whole Boardman?
Wherever we tear up, it would not, I think from Lake Shore to West Place, probably just that strip.
Okay. Are we still gonna put cameras up?
Yes,
It's much needed.
that's in
Okay,
here.
that's in it.
And I have a couple of recommendations for the cameras, and West Place and Boardman would be one. East Avenue would be another one. That's just something we can talk about if the budget's approved, but that's still in here.
Okay. Righty. See if there's any other council comments first. Okay, if not, we did have a member of the community who wanted to speak and permission to go to the floor. Okay, yes. And just state your name and address for the record. You can come forward. Okay.
Marcia Wright, 5701 Candlewood. Of course, you know the city. Do I have to say it? Mangonian part. My question was, I guess I need to learn the different areas, because you all saying different little areas, and I don't know where you all talking about, like the hill, the east, whatever, and so I'm like, I guess I need to learn the areas, because when y'all talking about this, I'm not sure, and I wanted to know about that sewage. What area is that? What is the?
It's Bryn Mawr, Boardman Avenue, Lake Shore, and the furthermost west area of the Bryn Mawr neighborhood.
Okay.
Right across the street.
Okay, that's Bryn Mawr.
Right.
Sure. Okay.
You
And
know,
where's Hill at?
Mangonia Hills neighborhood, that's your area.
It's called Hill.
The
It's right on
Mangonia
Hill
Hills
Street.
subdivision,
Okay,
officially.
I learned something new. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Okay.
East Avenue, just for the East Avenue is that long stretch behind Channel 12.
Oh.
And we get a lot of dumping activity back there, so.
Yeah, I rode through there one day and saw it quite a bit.
Okay,
All right.
all righty. Okay, appreciate the questions and the clarity. Okay, so we'll come now back to the dais. Any other questions as it relates to the budget? Any questions for the town manager or staff? Okay,
All right.
if not, then anything else, Ken?
I just want to say what a fantastic back-to-school bash we had on Saturday. So
Yes.
credit to the clerk and her
Yes.
folks and everyone that volunteered. That was fantastic. So, just for the record.
Oh, certainly. Right, and for the record, thanks to everyone, the clerk, the staff, the town manager. It really was. PBSO Don't want to lose anybody out. PBSO, the United States Marine representatives.
Yes.
The free phone service,
The Sun King.
right, the
State.
Kona Ice vendor. Don't want to leave anybody out. You always leave somebody out. And, yeah, but it
Captain
was
Rodney's brother was
yes,
fantastic.
yes.
Dwayne
Yeah.
Thomas
Yeah, that was great.
and
DJ
his
Thomas.
friends.
Mhm, yes. Okay.
Councilmember Davis Quince.
Mayor and
And
councilwoman
Accounted
were there.
for. Thank you
So
guys for.
they looked like they
Food
were
was
having
great.
fun. So
I did have fun.
All righty, and thanks to staff,
Thank you.
Kathy, and all, who can, yeah, so thanks to everyone who came out and made it a success. All righty, so with that, anything else? Any other conversation, anything else needed? Okay, hearing none. Motion for adjournment?
see you next Tuesday.
No, okay, that's Ken's, so we'll wait for that, for council.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded, we officially adjourn. Is there all in favor, aye?
You have a question?
Aye.
Can you tell me
Aye.
who made the motion in the second?
Vice Mayor made the motion, McConnell seconded.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we're all done, and we'll see everyone next week. Thanks so much, and have a great evening. Okay, look forward to seeing you next week as well, if you're here. Next, meetings are on Tuesday.
Back to every Tuesday?
No,
No.
so it's first and third. This was a special
First
call
and
meeting.
third.
First
Oh,
and
okay,
third.
this is special, okay, I know,
Okay,
It was a budget workshop, but then it began, next Tuesday, the regular meeting, next Tuesday.
okay. All righty, so with that,
Give me your email and I'll.
good evening, everyone. Have a great evening.
Oh, he has it,
Okay,
okay.
and we'll take care of a few things here.
Oh, good night. I thought we was going
You asked for some information yesterday.
Okay,
I'll get it for you.
okay.
Okay. All righty, so Councilman Davis, you good?
I'm great. I'm blessed. And I get so far. And that's the best way to do it.
I mean, and it's not a violation of sunshine or anything else, even if